This is the end result, but this is how it started. Okay, so this is the starting image. It was a gloomy afternoon. It's actually a storm over the horizon here, and we went to this pre-scouted location. Now, Emil, the owner of all 5 of these cars, he had just picked up the pinky purple Huracan STO here at the front. We've got a Lamborghini Aventador Ultime. This is obviously a Lamborghini STO, Huracan STO, Ferrari 812 Superfast, Bentley Continental GT, and a C63 Final Edition V8 Coupe. So yeah, this is the starting image. I shoot underexposed for the base photo. We've got all the headlights turned on the car, and this makes sure they're nice and crisp and they're not too blown out. So starting with the base image, so I've also done some color correction and sorting in Lightroom, and then all of my final images have then been exported out of Lightroom and put into Photoshop and then stacked. So adding a light curves layer just to brighten up the center of the image. We start with the Huracan STO here. So each layer is a lighting layer, and I'm using a mask to only use the parts that I want. So anything that's green is not being used, and any of the color that you can see is being used. So as we start to add each layer, just like this, this one I used a little bit for the front of the Ultimate here, and we start to move through. You can see that the car, I'll zoom in here on the STO. You can see the car is starting to really take shape and come to life. So this is all the lighting layers for the STO. It's bringing out the metallic and the pearl in the paint. If you were to shoot this on that afternoon with no sun, no sunset, cars this color, they just wouldn't pop. Like, you can't Photoshop this level of lighting and depth of the paint and bringing out the metallic and the pearl without using flash. So I'm using off-camera speedlight flash with triggers. Now moving over to the Ferrari. Actually, no, we're moving over to the Bentley, sorry. Moving over to the Bentley, we add the lighting layers here. Same deal as the other cars. We've got the C63 in the background. Just making sure it's nice and illuminated. So it's a matte black paint, and I always want to try and make sure to show the lines of the car here. So that's what I'm doing here. Final little bit of lighting on the car. Then moving over to the Ferrari, adding all the lighting in, starting to really take shape and look fantastic. Then the final car being the Ultimate at the front. So we add in all of the lighting layers. And as you can see here, like with my masking, I'm only using the parts that I want to use for each layer. So it just depends on the reflections, the way the light's hitting the car, a lot of different decision making when it comes to choosing what parts of the image I want to use. So now that we've got all the lighting put together for the cars, we want to clean the whole image up because there's lines everywhere, it's a very messy environment. So using the clone stamp or the spot healing brush or a little bit of AI generative fill, there's a couple of different options. Start to remove all of the mess. So as you can see at the front here, there's a lot being removed, and then again at the back. So when you combine both of these layers, you can see just how much has been changed on this image. Look at that. Then we start to add in some curve layers and hue and saturation, vibrance, a few little sort of final tweaks to really polish this image up. So that there is actually a sharpening layer that I do on the final image layer. But beyond that, we're adding in lots of little adjustments. So when I add them all in like that, you can see the impact. But as I go through one by one, it might only be little changes, like that's maybe stripping out a little bit of blue from the black paint. Again, just stripping out little bits, you know, increasing the colors here and there. This is curves layer, so we're darkening everything around, darkening the sky and the ground. But as you can see, if I remove all of these layers here, just how much of a difference it makes. Like the image can look really flat, even though we've added all of the lighting and it looks fantastic like this. By just removing all of the distractions and then adding a little bit of contrast and a little bit of, you know, targeted highlights and shadows, we get that end result, which looks amazing. And then if you strip this all the way back to where we started, I'll show you the original image again and then compare it to this. So we'll just turn off all of these layers here. There we go. Okay, so that was the starting image. Now, no matter how you Photoshop this, you cannot bring out the color in the paint without using Flash. It's not possible. And if it is, you know, if you do push the file and Photoshop it to hell to try to make it, you know, pop, it's still not gonna look as good as using Flash. So then just adding everything back in. That was our starting image. That is our end result. Looks amazing and really makes the photo by just adding all of the lighting in. So with a lot of practice and a lot of patience, you can achieve results like this. I have photographed hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of cars using Flash, using light painting, natural light, afternoon sun, just a whole bunch of different lighting methods, daytime, nighttime, every single condition. And the key to all of this is just practice and experimenting. You know, if you've got an off-camera flash, just shooting during the day, at night, at sunset, every single lighting condition, playing around with the direction you shoot the light, whether it's up high, down on the car, whether it's direct into the side of the car. And then in Photoshop, playing around with the masking. So using a little bit from one image, a little bit from another image, and not trying to get it perfect in one go. Of course, like you can get a really good result if you set up 2 or 3 lights around the car, but you don't have any control. Whereas this way, and this is sort of my way that I like to do things, by having one light and by layering all of the lighting, then I've got ultimate control on what parts I do and don't use. And then I can get this result and this look, which is like, it's sort of a halfway between real and artificial look. But you know, the way I put it all together and ground the cars in the photo, it looks real, but it just pops in a way that you just couldn't achieve this without the lighting. So yeah, just practice and patience and you'll be able to get this result for yourself as well. But thank you for watching and I appreciate any of the support.